Hello everybody, today we will learn to make this woman in ink and paint. I'm all set for drawing. I start with a pencil sketch in light hand. Looking at the pots and on the top of her head, I'm making some rectangular marks to give some markings of where the pots would come in. Now step by step I am giving details on where each element would be. But please do remember that this is the first step. I'm not being too precise about how things will go. I'm basically giving some markings and moving forward with that. So equivalent to the head of the girl, I draw 8 boxes or 9 lines in total. The end of the third box is her waist or the belly button where it would come in, and the next box end is where the legs will start. From there I start drawing the hips and marking the knees, etc. Even if the girl is not facing us and is looking on the opposite direction and she is all clothed, but we still have to do these markings to make sure that the proportions are right. So once again we understand as to where the waist will fall or the hip would be and the knees would be. We are able to make the proportion of the girl or the structure or the frame of the girl properly. Now because of that, you see, I am able to see as to where the pot will come next to her waist, how far her hand would be, and with that I am taking an idea and moving forward with the first level of drawing. Now this first line or sketch is very important to understand the basic structure of your figure. We are not keying in any details or making any details. These are rough sketches that we do. And once the frame is ready, we come back with a pen to give the outlining. Now please understand that the pencil marking was only to give us direction or understanding of where and how this frame would look like. At this time when I'm doing the ink work, it gives us an opportunity to do any corrections. So if I want the cloth in this time or the fall of it to be a little longer or lower on a hip, I can do that. But please don't make too many corrections at this stage. Yes, we have to make some adjustments, but too many corrections means your pencil lines were not appropriate, and we shouldn't have started with the ink work if if the requirement or the need to correct is too much at this stage. So you see, I'm working with the ink but giving the curves that I want in a few more lines in the fall for it. However, I'm not doing too many corrections, like the drawing is not changing. So that's what it needs to be when we have started the inking. Once the pencil work is done, the ink work is pretty fast. I'm giving some lines and some scribble here and there, so that the structure or the feel of the drawing starts coming in, and very soon we'll start with hashing and coloring and darkening the areas as well. So on the base of the pot, I am giving the dark color or hashing or shading, because now that has started. If you see, I've started hashing across to see where the values are darker or where the shadows are. And this is also important. While we can do it with the color, but because this is an ink drawing, it looks a little better if we do this with the ink as well. I've left some marks on the pot to show some dent or feel of the metal, and the fluffiness on her blouse or her top is also something that I'm giving. Now this stage, when the outline with the ink pen is also done, it is about working with the shadows, some texture here and there, some depth and some values. This is an interesting point. You've got to make sure that you don't overdo it or underdo it as well. Underdoing it's still better, but overdoing it can also kill the art. The areas where I'm giving hashing is actually where her dress or the sari is having the depth, where the light is not falling and the darkness is coming through. So that is where I'm giving the hashing. And once again, the bottom of the pot, as you see in the reference picture, is all dark, and I'm going ahead with that, doing the same here. So one by one the picture is coming in place, and even the shadows and the values, the darker values are coming in place. I bring in a brush pen because that makes it the work quick, and a very different kind of an effect comes in, you know, absolutely dark, thick lines, and I like to do that in some places but not all. Each kind of a work is different, so the value that hashing will add, the brush pen can't, and what brush can do that ink pen or hashing can't do. So you've got to decide as to what effect you want where, and see what works for you. For me, I try to use a combination because all of these tools and methods are new to me. So I am doing a combination so that I also experience and learn as I go. So I'm giving the darker shades, or where absolutely dark values are, I'm using the brush pen for it, because it's easy in one go that texture comes in. Now pretty much we are done with that, and soon we will start with the color or ink paint as well. And that's the last bit of some markings here and there. I'm coming with red color watercolor and giving the lines on her sari. I've decided only to use red, and I'm not going to paint it like a watercolor in blue, so I'm just giving some marks and lines and texture to her sari where I believe it should be, because the contrast of red over white with black will look good. And I'm coming with some diluted ink to give the depth or the darker values across the sari. So that's all I've decided to use is ink and one color of watercolor, and then going with that. Wherever the shadows are coming in her body, hand, pot, sari, clothes, that's where I'm using the ink diluted with water. And dilution because that color needs to be a little lighter and not too dark. Also remember, if you're using ink, it dries out very quickly. I'm not using watercolor paper, so it is not spreading, A, and secondly it dries out too quickly. So it's a very different effect. You must try it. If you're a beginner, this is a very easy tool for you to then later on graduate to watercolor. It's easy to handle and it gives a very good effect. Some splash of red color, watercolor in my brush with a lot of color and a lot of water, so that I can splash it across, bringing in some more of it for some thickness, and there you go. So that's my final artwork. Hope you liked it. Please like, share and subscribe for weekly updates. Thank you.